Good morning and welcome to Cooks and Cars. Hi, I'm Rob D'Amico alongside Adam Merlin from Merlin Auto Group. And welcome to episode number 6 we are on now. And hopefully, knock on wood, no issues today. We shouldn't have any problems. We hope so. So we'll be able to have everybody stick around for the entire show without any issues. If you want to interact with the show, you can do so by our Facebook or YouTube. And that is on the Cooks and Cars website. All the links are there. So if you go to cooksandcars.com, you'll find all the links to Facebook, YouTube, all that great stuff. You can also find it on Merlin Auto Group's Facebook, Big Green Eggs Facebook, Big Green Eggs YouTube. And I think that's where we're at right now on all of the outlets that we have. So check that out. We are coming to Spreaker as well with just audio if you want to listen to it while you're on the go and in your car and all that great stuff. I want to keep you going with all the content we have. So make sure you go to cooksandcars.com. All the links are there. Subscribe to our YouTube channel as well so we can build that up and get a nice audience going there. So, Adam, have a good weekend. Everything good? Coming back and having some fun here on the show?
Yeah, crazy week.
It was a nutty week.
A little bit of a nutty week, but we don't need to talk about that here.
Yeah.
This is a great way to end the week. Always here on the show and answering questions live about cooking and cars. And I found something out from our guest that we're having today about Big Green Eggs that I can't wait to talk about. So
yeah, he's all excited. We'll explain here in a little bit.
This might be the coolest thing ever. So we may be starting a new collectible egg.
Right, and it fits right down his alley with the 100%. Exotic stuff. Yeah. So hey, real quick, I do want to say something. You know, with everything that was going on in the world, I don't want to be tone deaf to anything, but we don't talk about that here on the show because this is an outlet. We want to make sure everybody can come here and have a good time and have some fun. Right. And you can chat with us and interact. Just say hi if you'd like. That's okay. And if you got questions, please chime in because that's where a lot of this show information comes from. Is we interact with you guys. And if you guys say, hey, what about this? What about that? You know, I got a question that, hey, we'll bring it up here on the show and we'll talk about it. And we also want to try and keep this show free. So we don't want to have to, put it on one of those where you beg for money and you get membership and all that. We're not doing that. We're trying to keep this for free for you guys so you can interact with us and have a good time. I do want to say my thoughts go out to, I have a cousin, not a blood cousin, but got COVID. He's in the hospital on a ventilator. So rough situation there. And I want to let everybody know, be safe. If you're around people, we try to stay 6 feet apart here as well, even if we're in the studio. Here at the Egg, they're very safe and they got a protocol. We haven't even opened up our main store here since this happened. So just want to keep everybody safe. And my father, who's still in hospital, he had double bypass surgery, and I'm not able to be down there and it's rough. It's a weird time because with hospitals, families can't go in and you have to have calls and it's really weird. And I've actually, I'll go back a little bit of history with my neck. I had some injuries, but I had some stuff that comes up every now and then that puts me back in the hospital. And my wife took me, this was probably about a month ago and month and a half ago. And she couldn't come in. She had to sit outside the hospital while I was in there for like 8 hours. And I felt terrible, man. It's just a weird situation. So just everybody be safe out there. All right. Well, today, some of the guests we got on is going to be Adam talking about tracking your car. That's going to be one of them. I think leasing an exotic. I think that's going to be pretty cool to hear as well. And then Captain Ron Dimplemeyer is going to talk some pizzas, calzones, breads. He's one of the BGE Team Green members. So we're going to bring him on and he is our first guest of the day. So we want to welcome Captain Ron onto the show. And man, Captain, welcome to the program, man. Thanks for coming on with us today.
Hey guys, thanks for having me. My pleasure. I really appreciate it.
Hey, no problem. So what do you got going on? I'm gonna open up the show before we get to pizza and all that because I know Adam's gonna be dying to talk about it. You got that over your left shoulder there. You got the Big Green Egg, which is blue. And talk about that. Why is it blue?
Well, there's a number of different stories that I've heard about it. I can't get any kind of real factual information on it, but you guys only made a short number of them, a small number of them. I think somewhere around between 100 and 200 of them back in like 1998 or something. Now, the most common story that I've heard is that it had something to do with the Florida Gators national championship run or something like that.
Yeah, that was not it.
That was not it. Okay, I'll X that one off of the conspiracy theory list. So, but I don't know exactly why they were made, but there was, I've heard a number of times 195 of them made, and I was fortunate enough to find one for sale used. And I think that Adam probably made me an offer on mine that he's going to own one. No, I'm just kidding. But
no, we can talk.
They're really rare, and it's definitely one of my more proud things that I own. That's for sure.
I didn't even know that there was that was a thing. I mean, I just Googled it here, and now, I mean, there's threads. It's crazy. People talking about,
So I'll give you another one. Another big thing that, like the blue egg. If you see a blue egg, there's, like you said, there was anywhere from 100 to 200 of these made ever. And they only made them to a certain time, and that was it. It never resurfaced. We've never made another color past that. There was originally a copper-looking version as well, which is in our museum here at the Big Green Egg in the headquarters in Atlanta that you can see. But that's I swear that may be the only one left. I only think there were 5 of those made. It was just, they tried some things, and we've had companies call us and want us to do different things. And listen, it's not, if we were to do something like that, we're really going to do something special and make, auction it off, make it a one-off kind of deal where we raise a lot of money for a good cause. And I think that's what we want to do. But the other thing is, and Ron will know this by being on our Egghead Forum. If you go to eggheadforum.com, they talk about the chimenea. And the chimenea is one of those things that if you have one of those, that's another collector's item. We did make more of those, but that's a collector's item as well.
So
what is that?
I actually have a green chimenea.
You do?
As well.
A big green egg one?
Yeah, big green egg chimenea that I bought pre-owned, and it's never even had a fire in it. It's still brand new.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
That's worth some bucks right there. Yeah.
So but then the real unicorn, Rob, is the blue chimenea. Now I know a couple of guys that have those, and those I am on the hunt for. Man, I'm on Craigslist.
Honestly, I've been here 10 years and I've never seen the blue one.
Is that right?
Yeah, never seen one.
I'm in a constant search for it. That's for sure.
All right, so let's talk pizza today. That's what we have you on for. So pizza on the Big Green Egg, some of the best stuff you'll ever have. And I want you to walk through the different types of dough that you can use, how you set up your egg, what you have to do to know, because this isn't one of those things, we always talk about, we had on some of the other members earlier, like, Grilling with Dad and Chris Sussman and Mel and some of those guys. And they were talking about, all right, so you just got your egg. What do you want to cook? The first cook. This is not one of those first cooks you jump into.
No.
Yeah.
No.
So talk about the process.
You probably don't want to make it for a big crowd your first time out either. So you'll wind up saying, "I'll get it better next time." So there is a little bit of a learning curve with it for sure. You got to have good heat control, and the way you set it up. And you'll get all kinds of different schools of thought on it. The way that I like to do it is I like to take the convector. I won't.
Look at this. He's even got props.
So I take the
this guy's a pro.
And I'll set it in here like this. Okay, I'll set my grate on top of this, and then the pizza stone on top of that. Okay, so you have the convector, the grate, and then the pizza stone sitting on top of that. And some people will even go so far as to put something underneath that to raise the pizza stone a little higher in the dome. Because what happens then is that you get the heat coming around the top a little bit higher. The higher up in the dome it is, the more heat's going to come, and it's going to finish the top as kind of on an equal basis as finishing the dough as well.
So right now on the screen, we do have you with the expander with the 2 stones on top of each other, one pizza on top, one pizza below. I will say that works great in a large egg. You can also do it in an extra large, but you have to put the large stone on top in the extra large as well.
Exactly. Yeah, it actually will work a little better in the XL. Yeah.
Yeah, and the only thing you have to be concerned about is that bottom pizza, because there's another layer of stone which collects heat. Sometimes the top of that pizza on the bottom gets done quicker than you expected, so you may have to switch them from top to bottom. Exactly.
And one of the things that I hear all the time is that there's a couple things that you have to have if you're going to be making pizzas on the Big Green Egg. The other thing is a pizza peel. You have to have it. It's important. This is a Big Green Egg one. And I think, Rob, you subscribe to the same theory that I do. that this is one of the greatest inventions ever made for making pizza on the egg.
Yeah, I truly do.
It's a pizza screen, and it's great because you can slide it on and off the peel real easily. You can adjust the pizza on there real easily, and to me, it's just a great thing. I find that I have a lot of experience doing it. Sometimes I even find it hard to get the pizza off of the peel onto the pizza stone. So this helps with that quite a bit.
I saw some of the interactions coming in. Eddie said, Captain Ron is the real deal. He's a pizza pro, man. And if you follow along on his Instagram, you'll see that he does cook a lot of pizzas, calzones, some breads. But I want to real quick, you mentioned the pizza screen. Pizza screen's great. And I'll give you, if you're just, I'm just cooking one pizza, it's for me and the wife or me and my partner or whatever that may be. The screen, you don't necessarily need. You can use parchment paper. You can throw down some cornmeal. You could do it that way. Some people don't like that taste, and that's fine. That's what that parchment paper is for. And then you can also, what I use the screen for or the parchment paper for is if I doing a bunch of pizzas, like I got the family, I got to cook like 4 or 5 pizzas. I'll lay out the dough on those screens or the parchment paper. Then I can every time put a different pizza in without trying to get that, it sometimes sticks to the board. You don't want that to happen. You didn't put enough cornmeal on. This is a safe way to do that.
Help me out. Okay, so the screen is in place of putting it on just nothing.
So you put that screen right on top.
There's a lot of assumptions being made by the two of you that you get to this point where you understand what the screen is for. I'm trying to figure out what I'm doing.
We just went full on pizza pro.
Yeah, man. Right. I mean, I
went full on pizza pro. Right?
Yeah, the screen will actually sit on the stone.
When you stretch your dough.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Ron.
Yeah, start us at like step 1.
Right. So, yeah. Okay, hold on one second. Let me get another prop here.
All right. It's like our prop comic.
All right. So you got your pizza stone here. All right.
Yep.
Yeah, you got to have them handy. I'm the carrot green egg world. Okay. So normally a lot of people just put the pizza right off the peel onto the stone. It'd be really difficult to slide it off and get it on here. Parchment paper, you stretch your dough and put it, and then that you just pull that right off and slide it right onto here. Super smart. The pizza screen, it's a little bit more pliable. A little bit more sturdy. It's a little bit, for me, I like screen, or even the parchment paper, you can slide it off. And one thing we found is when you're making pizzas, let your pizza stone the egg. Okay, you want a hot pizza stone when you go to put your pizzas on. Otherwise, your bottom is not going to your bottom of your dough is not going to get finished overdone. But this, when you slide it on, okay, it just sits on there, and it really acts the same exact way as sitting right on the stone itself. You don't heat or anything like that, so it works really well.
All right.
So you warm up the egg with the stone inside?
Yeah, absolutely. You don't want to. And my sweet spot for my stone, I do have an infrared thermometer. My sweet spot's about 420. That's where I like my stone to be. Sometimes I'll even get my egg a little hotter, but my stone is at that 420, 450 range. That's a good spot to throw it. And I am in that school of thought of raising the pizza stone a little bit, whether you have an expander or you roll up some tin foil balls and stick it underneath the stone just to raise it up off the grid a little bit. It just helps the top of the pizza get done.
Interesting. So,
Right.
What temperature do you cook the pizza at?
Oh, this is a good one.
So you'll ask 100 people, you'll get 100 answers, really, is the kind of thing. I personally like to run between 400 or 500 degrees for my pizza. Some people like to go 700. I just don't find it necessary. I find that I get a better quality pizza at like 475, maybe even 500, but that's it. And if you go in any pizzeria and ask them what they cook their pizzas at, mostly they're cooking it at 500 degrees. So there's no reason, different strokes for different. That's for me. I like to do, like I said, between 450 and 500 degrees, dome temperature, eggs, that my thermometer on the outside is reading. That's where.
Yeah, I'm the same way. So I used to be that school of thought where I got to cook my pizzas at a high temp. I love cooking them, getting them on and off in a few minutes. But when you do that, you end up running the risk of top or bottom getting done before one or the other. So lowering that temperature, if you feel a little more safer, come down to about 425, 450, and even 500 is fine as well, because your stone's still a little bit lower than what that temperature is. Because there is, believe it or not, from the where the stone is into the top of the dome, could be about 10 to 15 degrees difference in heat because of, obviously the hotter temperature rises.
Now, does it matter if you want like thick crust pizza or thin crust pizza?
I will say this real quick, Ron, is that thin crust on the screen doesn't work very well unless you pre-bake the dough before putting it on there, because it becomes an issue of sticking to the thin crust sticks to the screen. I've had that problem before. So I always say if you're doing really thin crust, put the parchment paper.
That too.
Yeah. So, okay, we got a question for Ron coming through here. Hang on one second.
So, Ron, in general, do you cook the thicker crust pizzas or the thin crust pizzas?
I do a little bit of everything crust. I grew up on Long Island working in pizzerias, and that's must have stretched 10,000 pizzas in my or more, in my life. So I actually enjoy the process of stretching the dough. So I do a lot of the thin crust, but I have made thick crust where, I'll let it in or something like that. And then I'll actually cook the dough first, even like that, because otherwise if I'm working with a full thick, it just doesn't get cooked all the way through. You want that airy dough. So
Okay. Hey, Ron, we do have a question coming in. We're talking to Captain Ron. He's a BG Team Green member, and it's from C-Mac Cooks. Does Cap use any smoking woods when doing pizzas or just lump charcoal?
I do not use any woods when I use lump charcoal. And by the way, thanks for the question, Craig. Craig's a good guy, friend of mine. Don't use any woods. What I find is that breads and doughs and stuff really tend to soak up that smoky flavor. And to me, it just gives it a real off-putting flavor. And I personally don't enjoy it. Folks that do, but Lynn's over here going, no. So, no, I don't use anything like that. I just use the lump charcoal. That's it. And the other thing, too, is I want to get my egg burning for a while before I'm making pizzas. I don't want to do it on a fairly fresh bed of charcoal lit, because that will tend to give it a smokier flavor, too. So I want it burning nice and clean at a steady temperature. And I find that my pizzas, I like them the best just like that.
Yeah, if you're wondering what's a clean burn or how do you get it to that point, you just let it sit a little bit, because what's happening is the fire is building and getting the temp, and it may also be burning some stuff off that's on your convector if you don't clean it enough. That's what's happening too, is it's burning that stuff, and you want to let that go. You don't want to see smoke coming out of the top. You want it a nice clear vent that opens up the air and you see nothing coming out, and then it's ready for the pizza. All right, we do have another question here. Let's see. From Steve, which egg do you prefer cooking your pizza on? I guess large, extra large, or the mini max that you have behind you?
Sure, great question too. I make them on the large, but I really prefer to make them on the extra large. Some large pizza screens, and I can make a big pizza. A lot of people prefer to make a bunch of smaller pizzas. I'm lazy, so I like to make one big pizza or two big pizzas. But for me, the XL works the best for me. Because of that, like I said, I like to make like an 18-inch pizza, which is a pretty good sized pie. Usually it's like an extra large if you go to your local pizzeria. But the large makes great pizzas as well, just smaller, makes more of them.
Do you ever cook pizzas on your blue egg?
Honestly, I have never, ever once lit a fire in my blue egg. I've never used it all the time.
This guy's like an egg collector.
They made a very limited number of them.
It's like he has the
vault. It's like right.
I have a little.
You have like an egg museum over there. It's highly collectible. Now, this is like investable stuff here. I mean, I want to get into egg collecting.
Yeah. That's why I don't give out my address. My blue egg has been used. I mean, that I bought it from, the gentleman I bought it from used it all the time, but because limited number of them and parts are not available, God forbid I drop the chimney cap or something like that, and break it, it's not replaceable. So for
Yeah.
me, I like to keep it just as a collectible, and I don't want to chance anything with it at all.
I mean, if I really wanted a blue egg, like, could I call up here and like
No.
speak to somebody? Even though, like,
No.
I know people though,
I,
but like, I feel like I'm like,
I know.
I got an in here. I feel
know a
like
guy?
So,
I got a guy or two.
I will say this. I'll give you a story. Graham Rahal has a foundation that he wants, and he asked us to do these colorful eggs to do, and we had to tell him no because, again, when we do this, we want to do this as a one-off.
Sure.
Where it draws in a lot of money.
Sure.
Whoever gets it is going to be, it's this color. It's for this charity. It's going to go for all the money's going to go here. So we really want to make it special, and we don't want to make a bunch of them or run a batch. And listen, it's the big green egg for a reason because it's big green and it's an egg shape, grill. So that's what we keep it. And if we're going to do it, we're going to make sure it's special. Hey, Ron, before we head out, I do want to make mention that you have social media channels. You are one of our members. Where can they find information here?
All right, so on Instagram, I've been Ron302, but it's kind of abbreviated, so it's actually like CPTN on 302. And that's on my Instagram. Facebook is just my regular name. I also have a Big Green Egg group that I run, Big Green Eggers of South Florida. You don't live in South Florida to join. We're a very family-friendly group. We try and keep it very helpful, and we can ask questions, and if anybody ever wants to reach out, I'm all answer questions and help people with their eggs and their questions. I love the community, and I'm always willing to help out. That's for sure.
Hey, Ron, we saw some while you were talking a video of you spinning the pizza in the air, and I love doing that. It makes a mess of the house, and my wife hates it. But I love spinning my pizzas because it just spreads the dough much more evenly. You feel like that's probably back. You feel like you're back at your pizza restaurant when you were younger and spinning pizzas in the air all day. But, man, that to me, and a lot of people can't do that. I know we saw Chris Sussman try to do that. It didn't work out very well for him.
That's hours and hours, days probably of doing that. Yeah. So yeah, the first one didn't exactly work out so well, There's a few that wound up on the floor, that's for sure.
You just pick it back up.
It'll burn off.
Yeah, nobody's going to notice. All right.
Exactly. Hey, just dust it up. 3-second rule. 3-second
Hey,
rule.
Ron, we talked about pizzas. Yeah, we got some questions coming up. Before we get to those questions, though, I want to ask you about calzones because calzones is another special one that I really love doing because they taste so good, and you can put anything you want in these things.
That's right. It's that's the thing. People are always like, "Oh, I love a good cheese calzone." It's like, man, you should try them, and really anything. You can put anything in them, and it seems a little bit daunting to do, but once you tried it a couple times, and I have to say, my son, who seems to be following my footsteps, worked in a pizzeria through high school. He got to try it, and it's going to be very controversial. A pineapple and ham calzone. I said, son, you know the rule on ham pineapple in this house. But I'll tell you what, it's about the bad. The sweetness from the pineapple and the ham, the saltiness, it's so good. So, I encourage people to experiment, to have pepperoni on it, be cheese. Just because you've never seen it before doesn't mean it's not. Put it on your pizza, and try things out. Expand your horizons, things out, and investigate a little bit for yourself.
So Ron, there's one thing you mentioned, the pineapple and the ham, and I enjoy that. It's not. I love pineapple to begin with, so when you cook it and caramelize it, it's great. But you did a watermelon pizza. I'm not a big fan of this one. I'll be honest with you. And I've never, don't knock it till you try it, but that does not appeal to me at all.
Yeah. But I won't lie. It's, we kind of tried the first time as an experiment. So what we did is we just oiled the watermelon and grilled it. And then we flipped it over. We got the one side nice, sprinkled it with feta cheese and some basil. We put basil on it. I think we tried cilantro one time. And then some balsamic glaze over the top. And it's kind of a novelty, but it kind of caught on a little bit. Dark Side of the Grill will absolutely tell you, do not ever do this. It's too visible. It's kind
Good
of
man.
Little joke he and I
He's
have
funny.
going on, you know? Yeah.
All right, we're going to hit some of the questions.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, we're going to hit some of the questions here. Let's see. We have Eddie. What is your limit on the number of toppings on a pizza? I don't think there is a limit. Do you?
No limits. There is no limit. There are no limits on that. Everything. You know, and growing up in New York, we used to call it the garbage pizza. They just put every single top that there was, you know, and hey, I love a pizza with some stuff on it, you know.
So when we make pizzas at home, we haven't. I ventured on the egg one time. I unfortunately had some smoking chips in there, and it turned out to be an absolute disaster.
Yeah.
And you answered that question already. I mean, I guess the dough soaked up the smoke. I mean, it really was terrible. And I'll eat anything, and even I thought it was bad. But I tend to just pile every piece of meat, kind of cheese, everything I can find on my pizza before I put it in. And then I seem to have this issue where I can't get it. I mean, it's so thick, and all the toppings, I can't get it cooked like all the way through because there's just so much stuff on the pizza. So is there something, I mean, I don't know what I'm doing, period. And this is like in an oven where you just put the number in. Like, is there something to do on the egg that keeps that from happening, or is this just a rookie mistake?
Well, my advice on that is moderation. You know, put a little bit of everything on there. You don't have to fully load a full solid layer of everything on there. Kind of spread out
He doesn't know me very
know?
well.
But you know, for that you might be, you know, for something like that, you may want to try going a little bit maybe lower temperatures so that it takes more time to bake, but it won't cook dough and it'll allow it to cook through. You know, something like that might be a better thing. Another thing I always see people, they got their pizza this size, you know, and they put their toppings in an area this big, you know. Man, load those toppings right out to the edge of the pizza. There's nothing worse than eating half your pizza and have no toppings left on it. Load it right out to the edge. That's what I like anyway.
You remember back like in the day, I forget which one it was, one of the regular pizza places used to do that stuffed crust stuff. You know, it was like as if the pizza wasn't fattening enough, they had to load like it was almost like string cheese in the crust. That's and right. Stuff like that. Can we do stuff like that on this thing?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, hey, I saw a comment here of Dark Side of the Grill says no to the watermelon. He's not in it, man. He's not in it at all. All right, we do have another question. We got Paul, Big Paul on the grill. Go ahead.
Sure. Oh, no, I was going to say it was kind of funny. Dark Side of the Grill and I kind of had two things kind of catch on. Sort of mine was my watermelon pizza and his beer corn. And we kept going back and forth and back and forth. We have a little friendly one.
All right, so we'll get to the questions. It was Big Paul on the grill. I got to say hi to Big Paul and Jules. His daughter actually cooks on an egg as well. Got it, I think, for Christmas 2 years ago, and she's a superstar in the making, no doubt. How much for the blue egg cap? Let's make a deal.
Get in line. Get in line. We can have an auction right now, though.
Well, I don't know, Paul. I was going to tell you what. I'm starting to think my kid's going to college again next. We're going to think about put a little auction together for sale. It is not for sale.
All right. Let's see here. One more.
I think we were talking a little bit. There's a dealer. Sorry.
Yeah, you're good. Dark Side of the Grill, what's the craziest topping that worked on a pizza? This is a good question, actually, because, again, some people think, you know, why would you put that on a pizza? And you actually did a dessert pizza, which looks phenomenal.
Yeah. That was actually the first one that came to mind is we did a dessert pizza. And instead of like your traditional Italian sauce, something like that, we spread Nutella all over it. And then we cut and did we cook it with the fruit on it? I think we put the fruit on afterwards, but we put sliced strawberries and bananas and pineapple and everything. And the dessert pizza, it was really good. And that Nutella, but you just got to be careful when you take it off. That Nutella stays really boiling hot for a while. That's a roof mouth string pizza right there.
All right, man. Hey,
a hot piece of pizza. Know what I'm talking about?
Oh, absolutely. Been there, done that, burned my roof. All right, so off the egg, when you're traveling or when we used to travel, because I know you travel with your job sometimes, favorite pizza joint in the U.S.?
Mm-hmm. Actually, it's the one that was right across from my place that I worked at, and they had a Sicilian pizza that it was so good. It's called Branch and Ellen and Hop Hog, and man, it's just so good. When I literally, like, when my job would take me to New York, I'd fly into New York City and I would travel the hour out there, just go get some pizza, and then go back to my hotel room just to go there and get pizza. Really good. But I've had it all over the country too, though, you know. So
one of my favorite places is a New York style pizza, and I love that. And I'll get into this here in a second. But the place is called Toby's Little Italy. It's on 49th Street in St. Petersburg, Florida. It's absolutely phenomenal. I don't even know if they're still there because it's been a few years since I've been down there. But it's one of those, you take the slice, snap it in half, you fold it, take a bite. Are you one of those guys that fold it, or are you a knife and fork kind of guy?
Listen, if you're from New York and you don't fold your pizza, you got some explaining to do.
Yeah, exactly.
Definitely a fold person, yes.
All right, my man. Hey, I want to thank you. I want to check with Ryan real quick before we head out. We have any more questions? It looks like we yeah. Here, let's hit this one up here. I think it's Nancy. So she's got a new stone, bottom burned a bit, but still amazing. How to keep it from burning? Was it too hot? Now, I don't know what original temperature she started at, but she's asking about the bottom getting burned too quickly.
Okay. Yeah. The stone may have been a little hot. Like I said, if you're cooking up in that over 500 range, that stone's rooted up, and the chances are good that the bottom will be done well before the top. So what I do is I put my pizza in, go for a little while, and then I'll check it, and kind of lift up the corner and look at the bottom. The other thing I do, though, is I spin my pizza. About halfway through the cook, I like to spin it 180 degrees because maybe the back is a little bit hotter than the front of the egg. It depends how your charcoal is burning or where your airflow is. So if you spin it around, you're going to get a much more evenly cooked pizza, and so help to keep the bottom from getting so burned.
Yeah, and I will say this: this is my advice to somebody who's just starting with pizza. Start at that 450 range. Let your stone get up there. Let the stone and the egg be pretty much at 450. That's okay. You're going to get a nice cook on it. It is going to take about 7-8 minutes probably to cook that pizza, but it'll be spot on when it's done. That's my advice. Then you can play around with upping the temperature.
Is that what was that? The egg the screen? What is that thing?
Yeah, it's a pizza screen.
Yeah, is that a Big Green Egg product, or is that something we buy?
So right now it's something you buy. It's a third party. Yeah, but I will say that.
I imagine a dealer coming soon to a dealer near you.
Yes.
Oh boy.
There's a few products that are coming out this year that you guys are going to love for pizza. There's no doubt about that. All right, Ron. Hey, I want to thank you very much for coming on again. Where can fans find you online?
Again, on Instagram, it's Captain Ron 302, CPTN RON 302. And Facebook is just my name, Ron Meyer, and I run a Facebook group also called Big Green Eggers of South Florida. You don't have to be from South Florida to join. Thanks so much for having me, guys. I really appreciate it. It's an honor to be here with you guys, for sure.
Hey, no problem. Yeah. And don't forget, if you're online this afternoon, I think at 4:30 Eastern time, Big Green Egg Foodie is going to do a live Instagram takeover on the Big Green Egg thing, so something to watch for later. She'll be cooking on the wok, and that is another thing we'll be talking about here on the show is some wok cooking because, believe it or not, you can do it on the Big Green Egg. Ron, thanks again. We do appreciate it. Thanks for your time today.
Ron, remember when that tuition bill comes for your son, just give me a shout. Maybe we may talk about your blue egg over there.
All right, man. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much, guys. I appreciate it.
All right.
All right. We'll see you, man. All right. We're going to take a break here. When we come back, though, we're going to talk about tracking your car and what it does to the value of your car. And I think we'll also talk about leasing an exotic. In what situation would that be good? We'll talk about that coming up as well. And what else? I think you had one other thing you wanted to mention.
I don't know. I'm distracted by this blue egg.
You want the blue egg?
I mean, I want to learn how to make pizza, and I was listening, but I've been over here trying to Google. I mean, you cannot find. I mean, I'm finding posts from like 2017 where people are trying to sell their blue eggs.
Yeah.
But like, there's nothing under images. There's a lot of imposters that have made. You know, blue. You know, whatever these other brands.
You don't want those.
Yeah. No. We don't even look that way. But, you know, yeah. Listen, I mean, I think it really make an extra large big green egg in a special color for a specific charity that's close to the heart.
Yep.
Make one of those big old island thing, you know, like that I have, and then make all the accessories right in the same color, right? And we'll end up with like a $25,000 donation to some, you know, amazing charity for like that one of one big green egg. I think it's a doable thing.
It's absolutely doable. There's no doubt about that. All right, we're going to take a break here. We'll come back. We appreciate you sticking around and watching Cooks and Cars. We'll be back in a second. Stick around.
There's a place where fire and flavor are celebrated, where grilling traditions and new techniques are perfected. Here in Big Green Egg Country, you can grill it, roast it, smoke it, or bake it. It's the most versatile grill you'll ever own. Simple to light, easy to use, comes with a free lifetime warranty. Have it delivered to your door by a certified dealer in your community and start enjoying the ultimate cooking experience. Shop online for home delivery at biggreenegg.com. That's biggreenegg.com.
Adam Merlin, president of Merlin Auto Group, and over the past 12 years, we've been successful at building our business with the undying focus of taking the pain points out of what normally is a miserable process, which is buying an automobile. And it was on this mindset that about 2 years ago, we launched our service department. Because let's face it, the only thing that's potentially negative about owning these exotics or ultra luxury cars is the fact that you have to service them, is the fact that they stand the chance of possibly breaking and you don't know what's wrong. It's the fear of the unknown that we as the consumer sometimes are really nervous about before we go and buy that Ferrari, before we go and buy that Aston Martin. And that's the reason we started Merlin Auto Group Service Department. We went out and got factory-trained, certified technicians for Ferrari, Maserati, Bentley, Aston Martin, Rolls-Royce, and Porsche to make sure that you had somebody that you can rely on to help you manage your automotive investment and make sure that the right things were getting fixed, they were getting fixed the right way by people who knew how to fix them and were willing to take the time, answer your questions, and make sure that you were satisfied and you understood what was going on. If you're looking for a shop where you can get an appointment easily, where we'll answer the phone, where you can talk to the technician, where we genuinely care about your problem and truly want to help you solve it and be your partner in your automotive ownership experience, you need to give us a chance here at Merlin Auto Group.
All right, welcome back to Cooks and Cars. I'm Rob D'Amico.
I have to interrupt you. I'm sorry. I just got a text from my wife that says, if you come home with a blue egg, ...
Don't come home. So
that's pretty funny.
During the break, back and forth with Ron, Adam's been trying to negotiate a price here. He's really desperate to get one of these blue eggs. If you're one of those guys that I'll give you a funny story. I actually drove down. I was doing a racing deal. I was doing the Lucas Oil open wheel racing school. And I went down to Roebling Road in, South Georgia. Sure. And I'm down there and I'm driving. And I actually have the Big Green Egg van because we were doing an event with the school and we were out there cooking. And we had brought some people that actually he's now an instructor over here at the Porsche deal.
Oh, cool.
But we took him out there to go see how he would do in an open wheel car. And I got to go and drive some of those cars, which are great. Those are state of the art. They're really up their game. I've been to a lot of schools. That one with the technology, spot on. But anyways, we're out there and I'm driving out there and I pass a guy on the main street as you're heading out to Roebling Road. On the right-hand side, be on the lookout for it if you go that way. There's a guy has a blue egg literally sitting in his backyard in a table. I stop the truck, turn around, I go back, knock on the door, nobody's home. So I go do the thing on the way back, knock on the door, nobody's home. Left my card on the door, hoping he'd call me. Never called me. Got a blue egg. It's sitting there in his backyard, and he uses it all the time. Pretty cool deal. But I just wanted to give that.
Maybe we go down there after the show, bring a little suitcase full of cash, and see what we can come up with.
All right, let's got one more question here. We had Ed who says, my gasket is 99% gone. What do you recommend for replacing felt or something else? I use BG at the last at least once a week. So I will say this. I don't know how old your gasket was. We do have a new replacement gasket that literally is a peel and stick. So you have to take the other one off, use some acetone and all that stuff to get all the stickiness off. But you can literally put this new gasket on. And this new gasket, the old gaskets, even most gaskets, are only rated for about 450, like an oven, stuff like that. This gasket actually goes to 600 degrees plus. So it's an upgrade. And the way the stickiness works, it's easy to put on yourself. So it's not a hassle. There are other third party. I can't obviously recommend those. But I do say ours at 600 degrees is perfectly fine. You can do your pizzas. And listen, the gasket is there. You don't necessarily need the gasket. What the gasket does is give you a nice fit and finish. So when the two base and dome come together, it's a nice fit and finish. In reality, the gasket doesn't do much. It does also keep from, because when you have ceramics, sometimes there's a little gap or an opening or, it does a little waviness to it. Right. But they're pretty good at the factory of getting that right. So it helps keep the air gap tight. That's another thing. But I would replace it with our Big Green Egg stick and peel. It's a great gasket for you to use out there as well.
Can we buy online yet? Is the online store back operational? Or are we still?
So the only thing available right now on the Big Green Egg Shop website is the large package with the integrated nest handler. Coming soon will be the XL with the integrated, but that's right now the only two packages that are available.
Once again, my wife is really appreciative that this online program isn't working right now.
She hates the podcast.
Yeah, no, she does. Well, look, I found there's some stuff that I don't own that are accessories that I was very disappointed. I thought that we had one of everything. And so
we'll wait until she sees this blue egg show up in the backyard.
Yeah, no, I'm going. Where's Captain Ron? What part?
Actually, he lives in South Florida.
All right, so it's like 40 degrees here today. Let's go to South Florida this evening. And maybe we'll come home with a blue egg. Although on the commercial break, he's talking like $45,000.
Yeah, he kept adding zeros to it.
Yeah, for $45,000, I'll have Picasso come back and paint my egg blue.
We have a few of those in the museum as well, where somebody hand painted some stuff on there, which was pretty good. It's a nice piece of art. But all right, let's move on. We're going to talk some cars here. We talked a lot about cooking today, so right now I want to move over to cars. And one of the things I saw online is F1 drivers. You know that these guys are beyond anybody, right? They can do amazing things. They're so fit. Their eye-hand coordination, the reflexes are awesome. But what if you put them in a public go-kart? Like if you went to Andretti's and got into a regular go-kart or one of their electric go-karts, with the bumpers and all the roll stuff on it, and how well would they do? Well, we found a video online where Carlos Sainz, the F1 driver, decided to do that. So how far do you think he makes it in this video? How far up do you think? He started dead last. How far do you think he makes it?
I would bet he won. No, but I think that there's, they have to stay ahead of the car. Like they're 3 turns ahead of where they are.
That's right.
Looking down the road, and that's really, I think, what's incredibly important. And the other thing is, and less so in this go-kart race here, but in real racing, so much it's managing your car, right? Managing the limits of your car. And if you remember that movie Days of Thunder, with Tom Cruise.
Oh, yeah.
And, he didn't know anything about cars. He just knew how to drive fast. And, it was really, it was very interesting that when he did it his way and he was driving really hard and really fast and he ate up the tires, and then he drove what he felt like was less aggressive and slow, and he was actually faster and it was easier on the tires, So there's an element of managing your car and managing the way you drive it that'll make you last through the race, and it'll actually make you handle better and your times will be better.
And go-kart racing, I've done this. Actually, we did a Big Green Egg event where we gave a medium egg away. We did this for 3 seasons. We did it with Andretti Autosports. Andretti, the karting and gaming. They have one here, some in Dallas, some in Florida and Orlando. But we did 3 seasons of this where we actually did a series, and it was a lot of fun. these are like driving Miatas where you have to keep up the momentum.
Right.
You got to change your line a little bit to carry that momentum through and through. And it's just a lot of fun. We had a blast doing it. And it's a lot of fun to do when you're in these go-karts. But I was impressed that starting dead last and he's up. And I love when he passes the guy where he wrecks him, throws his arm up. Like, hey, buddy, I'm sorry.
Yeah. He has a drink in his hand.
He's so cool, calm, collected. And I'm out there sweating. I'm pissed off that he just threw me out of the track.
Yeah, well, you knew he was going to win. I mean, a pro is a pro, right?
All right, so let's continue on. We're going to talk about tracking your own car and taking your own car to the racetrack because, it's a lot of fun in a go-kart, but you want to take your nice hot rod out to the track. What do you have to do, and what does that do to your value of the car?
Yeah. So, look, I mean, you buy these cars. It's really a shame. So many people buy these cars and they never use them. You know, they drive 25 miles an hour around the streets, go for ice cream, and they really never use the car to its actual full potential. So there are terrific opportunities, for people like us who are not professional racers. You may not want to get into like a race and drive in a crowd because that's a whole different story. But, you want to take your car out for a track day. You want to go up to Road Atlanta for a track day or, Atlanta Motorsports Park is a terrific place up in Dawsonville. We're members there. By
the way, got a great go-kart track as well.
Incredible. And that's open to the public. You don't have to be a member, but you have to be a member to get on the main track, and you can take your car out there. It's a very technical track, but it really gives you the opportunity to drive your car in a controlled environment. That's technically a racetrack or a road course that you can drive your car. Look, it's imperative before you go and do that there's a handful of things that you check to make sure that, you're in good shape. First of all, you don't necessarily want to have a full tank of gas in your car when you first go out there, but you want to have enough gas that you're not going to run out of gas in the middle of the track. You need to make sure you get your,
rookie.
These are things that you have to do just because, you get in your car every day. You don't check the oil. You don't check your tire pressures. Yeah. You don't check your brakes. You don't want to get on this track, start getting aggressive. Having your tire pressures off, could be a potential safety hazard. I mean, things happen so quickly in these cars. But it's at a place like Atlanta Motorsports Atlanta Motorsports Park, for example. It is a controlled environment. You can get out of control. I was out there with a good friend of mine, Bruce, one time, and I was able to spin my car and turn whatever. And he said, I'm a founding member of this track. I've been here for whatever it is, 15 years. I've never seen somebody figure out how to spin their car in that situation. So I may hold a record out there. It's not one to be proud of. But
need to rename the corner.
Yeah, hey, that should be, Merlin Corner. Here you go. But look, I mean, there is this misnomer that, if somebody tracks their car, that it's, it adversely affects the value of the car. And, from a logical perspective, you may think to yourself, well, if somebody tracks the car, they're just out there beating on the car, and, and there's debris from the track coming up, and it's basically peppering the side of your car with a bunch of paint chips and stuff like that. There's protective film you can put on your car to avoid that. It's very hard on your brakes. It's very hard on your tires. But if you know what you're doing and from a cosmetic perspective, if you're not hurting it, if you replace your tires, if you replace your brakes, if you let the engine warm up before, don't take a car that's been sitting in your, like we have a race car that sits up in our storage garage up at Atlanta Motorsports Park. If I went up there right now, cranked it up, went out on the track and started just before it warmed up, you would be doing some potential harm, but you're really not necessarily harming the value of the car if you're protecting the paint. And then if you're servicing the items that could potentially be damaged while you're on the track.
So I've seen the film you're talking about, right? Obviously, they make this clear version that goes over, it protects the paint. A lot of the exotic guys put this, and some of the regular guys. And I even know some of the guys that, find a regular, whether it's a Miata or remember back in the day, they used to do the neons, the Dodge Neons used to be a great race car. Yeah. But they would put the film on there just to protect it. They wanted to keep it clean. And but you have also seen it where they put like blues painter tape if they didn't have protective coat. And does that do anything? It really.
So look, I mean, any protective layer of the paint, will protect the paint depending on how severe the damage is, right? Some rocks, get up and they'll get right through it, and they can even get through the clear film that you put on it. There's some really, really advanced, really good clear film now that you can put on your car that most importantly lasts a long time, right? People ask me, when they buy an exotic, they buy a 488, spend $300,000. And they're like, I don't want any rock chips on my hood. Should I put some clear film? And, there was a time when I would say, if, the clear film looks like crap too, right? So would you, I personally would rather have 1 or 2 rock chips on my hood than have this like discolored, nasty looking clear film on there.
And that's how it used to be.
That's how it used to be. Now it's a totally different program, right? It's a totally different story. But the thing you got to realize is it's really important who installs the clear film and that it's installed properly. And then that clear film is installed on original paint, right? Because there's going to be a time when you're going to rip that clear film off, right? It's if you track your car a lot, that clear film is going to start looking bad.
Yeah.
If the door of your car has been painted because someone keyed it in the parking lot, and then you go and have clear film put on the bottom of it.
Ex-wife situation.
Yeah, sure, right. You never know why it got keyed, but for some reason it got keyed, right? So you tried to steal somebody's blue grill, and that he came after you, right, or something like that. But but if you apply the clear film to non-original paintwork, when you go to strip that clear film, there's a distinct possibility you strip the paint as well, and you're going to end up having to repaint your entire door, which, it's not the end of the world, but it's just something to be cognizant of.
Yeah. That, so with this clear coat, there's a version now where if something does chip it, you're able to almost heat it up like with a hairdryer, and it almost melts back together. So it's almost like a self-healing, which is really cool. I mean, the game is changed with how they wrap these. And we'll do that here on the show one day where we have these companies come on and talk about that. But wrapping a car's such a cool thing nowadays.
Yeah, no, look, I mean, you can wrap them for protection, and then, you can wrap your whole car. You got a gray car out there and you decide on Tuesday you want a black one, you can go out there and get the car wrapped. And I mean, it could, for the most part, at least from 10 feet away, it looks like you have a black car,
right?
And that's really become a very popular thing. It's pretty cool. So, look, I'm an originality kind of guy.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? We should come up with wraps for your egg, and then Captain Ron's blue egg will not be quite as cool if we can just do
a high heat wrap on an egg.
Yeah, I mean, why not?
It could probably be done. I don't know the technology on these wraps and these vinyls.
It could be a thing. It could be a,
But I have a feeling we'll burn the hell out of it.
Yeah.
Burn it right off.
Yeah, that's probably true. I don't know.
I've seen some cool wraps though. And the technology on those is definitely up the game to protect these cars when you're taking them to the track. So you track the car, you have fun, you enjoy doing it, not really affecting the value.
Again, it depends, right? I mean, if you're taking like your actual, if you're taking your seats out of the car and you're putting a roll cage in your car, and look, we took a BMW M3 and turned it into a race car, right? Like that obviously affected the value of the car. For somebody who's looking for a race car, it affected it, positively. For somebody that's looking for a road car, it affected it negatively. If you turn it into a race car, put racing wheels, stuff like that, you certainly could adversely affect the car. But I mean, we get it all the time. People call and they're looking at a 458 we have advertised, and their first question is, has it ever been tracked? Has it ever been in a wreck? Well, that's because they're reading on a forum, never buy a car that's been on a track, never buy a car that's been in a wreck. And if you listen to us, we'll always tell you, never, make a decision based on one thing that you don't actually explore the extent, right? There's certainly cars that are outstanding that have been on a racetrack that have, there's zero value change. I mean, there's times where I've been driving a Ferrari FF. I'll drive it up to Atlanta Motorsports Park. I'll literally stop long enough at the entrance gate. I'll get my driver's band. I won't even get out of the car. I'll put my helmet on and I'll drive right out to the track. I'll drive 10 laps around the track. I'll pull off the track, take my helmet off, and I'll drive back to the store. Yeah. Now, I promise you, nothing happened. There's no reason that the value of that car would be any less, right? Now, I didn't technically race it. There was other people on the track. I was racing myself. I had a timer,
right.
But
what they call the time trial stuff. Yeah.
Right. But I mean, you're not necessarily, again, if there's anything you ever learn from anything we talk about,
that's like taking your dog to the dog park. You just let them open up and run around a little bit, and there's nothing wrong with them now.
No, I mean, look, there's never. There's never absolutes when it comes to automobiles, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you just can't, I mean, you can, when you buy a pre-owned car, you want to buy the one that the most history about, that, the little lady took to the grocery store every day. But sometimes, and Wade will tell you, we've had Wade on as a guest here. He's our master tech over at Merlin Auto Group, and working on Ferraris for 30 years. He'll tell you some of the best condition motors he's ever seen are the ones with the highest miles, that the owner drives them like he stole them, right? I mean, it's, the harder you drive it, the better it is for the car. So that, there's two schools of thought there, that I mean, it's like, we have a 89 Ferrari 328 that we found, was a one owner car. It has 800 original miles on it.
That's it.
800 original miles on a 1989 car, right? Gosh. And now, I mean, if you wanted to get in that car and go and just open it up and drive it, I'd be scared to do that before somebody took a really, really good hard look on it.
Because that spent a lot of time, obviously, sitting.
Look, I mean, there's a concept called the Italian tune-up.
And by the way, I want to say, we had somebody from Italy say hello, and they said ciao. So ciao, we appreciate you joining in and watching the program out there. Great stuff. But go ahead and finish up the thought there.
There's this concept of an Italian tune-up that we learned at Merlin Auto Group when we finally got a couple Ferrari and Maserati technicians in, and basically what that is sometimes if your car, if you get like a slow down light on, or if it feels like it's not running just the way it should, start it up, drive it around gingerly, let your temperatures get up, and then just hammer that thing. I mean, just absolutely get on it.
See what it's got in it.
Hammer it. And sometimes it's like you'll feel like, like they used to talk about back in the day, like you got to blow the carbon out of the car.
Yeah.
It's like you almost feel this cloud of smoke go out the back, and then all of a sudden the car's perfect. So I mean, these things were built to be driven. They were built to be driven hard. They were built to be used, driving it on a racetrack, slamming on the brakes, slamming on the gas. You're really not negatively impacting the car, unless you're doing it outside of operating temperatures, stuff like that, which is just really common sense.
So we talked about tracking the car. Now I want to move to leasing a vehicle. And when we say the vehicles, obviously you can lease any car you want, right, in the world.
Right.
Every manufacturer has a leasing program and all this stuff. Let's talk about leasing these exotic cars, things like that. And I know you do have some programs that are available, but talk about why you would do that and what situations what makes that work. And is it really a good idea?
I know we're nearing the end. We're running really low on time as far as our show goes, and we could really have a whole segment on pre-owned leasing. There's a couple of companies in the exotic world that specialize in leasing pre-owned exotics, and you can lease older exotics. When it comes to leases, I mean, a lot of times people lease a car for one of two reasons. A, they want more car than they can afford, and the lease payment's lower than the finance payment would be, and so they lease the car. B, they like to flip their cars regularly, so they just know I lease it. It's under warranty the whole time. Every 3 years, I get a new car. And then there's some tax benefits from leasing a car. If you're self-employed, stuff like that, you can get some, income tax, depreciation write-off benefits. You have to consult with your accountant. When it comes to leasing a pre-owned car, the thing we get asked the most is people want to lease a car for 6 months, right? I want a Ferrari. I can spend $4,000 a month for 6 months, and
I'm trying to impress this girl,
right? Then I'm kind of tapped out, right? Like that really doesn't exist. There are some exotic rental places and stuff like that. But there are some benefits to leasing. If you want to lease an exotic car pre-owned, there are some benefits from, you can put them in your company name, you can keep them off of your credit report. In certain instances, you may not have to personally guarantee them, stuff like that. But in some upcoming shows, we'll bring on some guests from some of these leasing companies, and they'll talk about it, and they'll talk about some of the programs and really the benefits of doing it. A lot of the benefits of conventional leasing, which is guaranteed residual individuals at the end of your lease. You can walk away, stuff like that. That doesn't really apply in the exotic leasing world. It's really a totally different program. But it's certainly possible. But I think we should, it's a long subject that we could talk about for a long time.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. All right. If people are looking for more information on some cars that you may have available, because you have some great cars, man. First, you have, I think you're up to like 30 Ferraris now. Is that what it is? Look,
I mean, I'll tell you, with the state of the economy and with COVID-19, the car market has been incredibly nuts. And thankfully, we've been able to sell a lot of cars. The problem is it's very challenging to replace those cars. And there's really not a lot of really good cars on the market. We're very particular about what we'll buy. We really don't just go out there and buy from auctions and all that stuff. We like to buy from collectors, from individuals that have cars of the best quality. And when you're so discriminating what you're buying, it's very challenging to maintain a huge inventory and a huge selection because there's just not that many good cars on the market. So we've been able to acquire some really good pieces of late. MerlinAutoGroup.com. You can take a look. You can find us on Facebook at Merlin Auto Group, Instagram. What's our thing on there? Is it
Merlin Auto Group?
Yeah. So, Google Merlin Auto Group or whatever, send us questions, email us. We are working by appointment only because of COVID. Our showroom is technically closed to the public. We've fortunately been able to get through this COVID situation. We're 100% non-negotiable on wearing masks, and we want to know who's coming in before you come in, stuff like that. But yeah, look, I mean, it's fun. There's a lot of cool stuff over there. We have had a good week this week where we've been able to acquire some really good pieces. So
yeah, no doubt about that. And the others, not just Ferraris, but there's plenty of others. I mean, you have Teslas, Rolls-Royce, Mercedes,
Bentleys, the whole,
Maserati.
Yeah, everything nobody needs. If it's a car you don't need, then it's definitely something we may have.
And you can see how, he goes for the right thing, like with the blue egg. The guy can't let it go.
Well,
he's going to get it.
That's the whole idea, right? It's all about supply and demand, right? I mean, that's how, we love selling cars to clients who call us up in 3 years and they're like, man, I bought this car from you for $120,000. I thought you were priced high when I bought it from you, but it's worth $150,000 today. And it's all about supply and demand. I mean, that's the reality. That blue egg is worth a lot more than it cost when it was brand new because there's 200 of them or whatever. And there's crazy people who, as long as there's more people that want it than there are available, you win. And that's when it comes to buying, exotics and collectible cars. It's the most important thing to know is just supply and demand.
I saw on the screen pop up while we were talking. I want to say hello to Chef Jason. He's from our friends over at Ace Hardware. He's one of their chefs over there. So Jason's a great guy and loves cooking on his eggs. And you can watch videos of him online as well on YouTube. We've got to get him on as a guest one day. We'll do that as well.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
I may do some pizzas tomorrow. I think I'm inspired. I've been threatening to do it. I did it once with my son. We tried to make pizzas and they tasted like smoke.
I like how you said try.
Oh, it was terrible. I mean, it was horrible. And it was really disappointing because it was right after we bought the egg. And that was why we bought the egg.
You're like, oh, this is going to be awesome.
Like, I mean, my family loves pizza. We love doing pizza night and everybody gets to make their own pizza.
Yeah.
And I really thought it was going to be something cool, but maybe after
It
today's show and what we've learned, I'll steal a couple accessories from the egg store over here before I leave. and maybe tomorrow, the family will do that. So,
all right. Well, don't forget we're trying to keep this show free of charge, so you can see it on go to cooksandcars.com. You can see our Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all that great stuff. Our YouTube channel, where you can find. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, where you can find this show. You can also find it on Big Green Eggs YouTube and Facebook. Same thing with Merlin Auto Group. So you can check all that out online. Again, go to cooksandcars.com and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Want to thank everybody for tuning in. You can also follow along with me at Rob D'Amico, ROBDAMICO. You don't have a personal one, do you?
I don't think so.
If he does, he's keeping it personal.
Yeah, very private. It's invitation only.
All right. Well, that's it for Adam Merlin. I'm Rob D'Amico for our executive producer sitting over there, Sutton, joining the show, and Ryan back at the shop, man. Always a pleasure. Thank you very much. And a much better show today. No doubt about that.
Absolutely.
And we'll see you back here for episode number 7 next week. It's been Cooks and Cars. Thanks for watching.